This team, if it's not me, it's going to cause Leafs Nation some type of heart attack, to say the least. I mean, the ups and downs that we are experiencing with this group right now, to go from what we did the last few games, last Saturday against Montreal, and watching the way that this team went out, and watching the lack of battle, the lack of fight, the lack of effort in this group, to then what you see in the overtime win against Columbus, that's then followed up by the game last night against the Washington Capitals, where, you know, we basically came on and did like a post-mortem with Jay Rosehill on the Postgame show, talking about like, what the hell is happening with these guys? How did we get to this place? Like, I cannot believe that we are at this point with this team, and we're talking about, like, I mean, I did it in the game preview. I was talking about, is this a must win? And the general consensus about must win or not was, it didn't really matter after last night. You know, like, last night to me was the must win. You needed to win that one. And then the way you went out was so pathetic, was so upsetting, so frustrating to have that lead, to try to be building some type of momentum after your win against Columbus, whether you deserved it or not. And then even last night, whether you deserved the win or not, you know, you had the help and you had the support from Joseph Woll. Like, you're thinking about, okay, can you walk out of here with 2 points tonight? Can you walk out of here with 2 points? And Joseph Woll was playing out of his goddamn mind. And then this Leafs team shows up in the second period, or fails to show up in the second period, like they've done basically all season. And I'm sitting there watching going, oh mon Dieu, there is no way that these guys are just going to blow this thing again. And, you know, they finally made their way out of it, and then it goes to the third period, and then that's when it goes to shit. And after last night's game, I mean, Rosie came on here, we talked about it all together, and when it was like, no, this is not a group that you could rely on going forward. So today in the game preview, I'm talking about tonight, and I'm talking about, okay, can we find a way tonight? And then what can you do after this win? Because to me, it's not about like a one-game situation. It's a what happens going forward? Do you win this one? And then if you do win this one, what happens in the next game and the next game and the next game? You know, I see in the chat there's Supreme Lurker bringing up Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation. Like, it is a full Jekyll and Hyde situation with this team, but this is the most exaggerated version of Jekyll and Hyde that you could possibly get out of these guys right now. Like, you get some of the worst hockey you could ever see. You get some of the worst play of all time from this group. And then the next night, it's like, next thing you know, they show up, they put in a full 60 for the most part, they get goaltending, they get better defense, they get some decent-looking special teams, they get some help from the depth, they get big boys showing up. You know, it's like, I don't know whether you want to call it Forrest Gump. I don't know if you want to call it Secret Santa, but you never know what you're going to get, and you never know who you're going to get it from. But it's just all over the place with this team right now, you know? Last night, all of a sudden, everybody decides, hey, that's it, we're out of here, we're going to fuck off. And then the next night, it's a full-blown team effort where Nick Waugh, Dakota Joshua, Nick Robertson, those guys are on the boards. On the board, Austin Matthews is showing up and he's scoring vintage goals. You've got your backup goaltender who's showing up and is all of a sudden like playing out of his mind. And you know, like it's making a best of a situation, which is just so insane. You go on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. William Nylander steps into this one. Benoit leaves for personal reasons. Michelli goes out of the lineup. Domi comes back in. Like things are moving and shaking. And all of a sudden, like your third line, you know, Rosie came on the show last night, and rightfully so. He said that the bottom six is warm bodies, and particularly, we were looking at Dakota Joshua as a guy who is a warm body himself in there when you thought he was going to be this physical presence, this guy who brought energy, who brought electricity to the lineup, who brought some type of intensity night in and night out. And then it just hasn't been the case through 24 games. He shows up here tonight, and all of a sudden it's a hoot and a holler. This guy's blowing up Matt Dumba. He's scoring goals. He's physical on the forecheck. Mind you, there was some shifts. There was some plays where I looked at him and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Where all of a sudden he's just absolutely lacking in some type of intensity. But for the most part here, Dakota Joshua decided to show up tonight. So I don't know if this guy was watching the reels of Rosie earlier today and seeing what he was saying about the team, about Dakota Joshua and the bottom six in particular. But like Bobby McMahon on the board, Dakota Joshua on the board, and I see again, Supreme Lurker, Joshua's scoring was nothing short of a miracle. I mean, after what we saw from the guy last night, for sure. Like, you would have thought this guy had basically his powers taken away, like he was in the fucking Monstars. And they're on the other side taking away the secret sauce, and all of a sudden Dakota Joshua can't play hockey anymore. And then tonight shows up, and it's like, well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to play physical. I'm going to hit guys. I'm going to run through guys, and he scores a goal. Reality is there's a lot of positives from this win. If you are looking short-sighted, if you're looking at a one-off situation, there's a lot of positives from this win. It's undeniable. And I'm not going to do Mr. Negativity, but reality is, if you think we're going to come on here on this post-game show tonight and we're going to talk about why the season could turn around from this win, you're out of your minds. You are out of your minds if you think that that's the conversation that's going to happen here tonight. Like, I'm sorry to be a boner killer. It's just, it's not going to be the case. I can't come on here and reasonably suggest after this one win that things are headed in the right direction and this team's back on the right track. Because as Supreme Lurker has mentioned a few times in the chat, and numerous other people have mentioned on tonight's postgame already here, it's so up and down. It's so Jekyll and Hyde. It's so back and forth. Like, it's all over the place with this group. There's no reliability. So, the next game these guys play, again, we could be looking at the 32nd place team in the NHL, or a team that plays like they should be the 32nd place team in the NHL. And then the next game after that, they'll come out and play the way that they did against Pittsburgh tonight. Now, Pittsburgh is not like the Harlem Globetrotters on the other side. Let's call it what it is. But they're a team that's pleasantly surprised this season. I think they've looked pretty good. I think they've battled hard. When you've got Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Erik Karlsson there. You got Tristan Jarry, who came in relief of Artur Shilov. You got some of these young guys like Ben Kindle, who again looks really good tonight for Pittsburgh. If you've got guys like that, you're just naturally going to be a team that's going to be competitive and is going to work their bags off and not going to be an easy out. And the Leafs dismantled them. Like, the Leafs came in here tonight, and they dismantled them. Those are kind of just some general thoughts about the entire picture of the game here tonight. I see a bunch of people in the chat. I see some positive stuff happening right now. I see likes. I see super chats. So I want to get to all of this here tonight on the post-game show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. I think a lot of people who have been new to the channel, new to me, new to the Leafs Nation, new to the After Dark show, whatever it's been, have been, hopefully pleasantly finding out about the super chat and the like feature, where super chats, I will answer every and all of your super chats that come in here on the post-game show. And again, proceeds from our super chat go to Sick Kids Charity. It's an amazing cause. You want your question, your comment, your thoughts, your concerns read here on the show. You want to get my opinion on something, send in your super chat. Proceeds from your super chats do go to Sick Kids, number 1 children's hospital in Canada, number 3 in North America. And, we had somebody on from Sick Kids recently here, and we brought back, we raised for them $4,400+ for Sick Kids Charity. As we get closer and closer to the holidays, it's not about me, it's not about the channel that you're sending money into, it's the kids at Sick Kids Charity. So send those in. get the super chats in. I'll read all of them. I want to see what you guys are saying. I want to know how you guys feel about this one here tonight. Before I go any further as well, I see some comments that have come up here tonight about the background that is going on. Yes, I know that this is not a typical background. I know that some people are looking and saying, are you being held hostage? Are you okay? Yes, we're okay. My friends and I do a little Christmas getaway every year, spend the holidays together, do a weekend or something, and usually with the Leafs schedule, there's an opportunity in there somewhere to find a way to get away, find a way to go up and spend the weekend and be out, in the snow and have some fun, whatever, before Christmas, before the holidays. And this year, especially because of the Olympic break, that gets in the way. So, yes, I am, excuse me, off location doing the show, but I mean, we got the internet set up, we got mics, cameras, everything. It's just a unique background that we got going on for the show here tonight. But hopefully, and you guys can like the stream if you agree, hopefully tonight we can bring you at least some type of quality show and quality content. So shout out to my friends here that we're spending the weekend doing some Friendsmas, I guess is the best way to put it, up here, up north this weekend. Continuing on, let's see what we've got here right now for Super Chats, starting here with our guy, JRock. JRock, thank you as always for the Super Chat and the support here on the show. JRock, by the way, called in for the first time the other day when Vic was on the show. JRock is a St. Louis Blues fan, and he called in, very adamantly watches the Maple Leafs, follows on the show. Where do you guys vacation? Dungeons Are Us? Come on! What do you mean, Elvis Silves? Queen bed in the closet. All right, there's some funny comments. The funniest comments, whatever gets me laughing here, I will shout out on the show here tonight. I see some people chirping the hat as well. It is what it is. It's a toque. It's the only one I got. It's probably the nicest one. I was wearing it all day. I didn't really realize that I didn't have another hat on me right now. So, yes, it's the toque that's being rocked here on the postgame for tonight. But anyways, that is our friend JRock with the Super Chat. I just got distracted by the people in the chat. Your mustache is the Monstars boss. Great cause, though. JRock, thank you. Yes. If you want to support the cause, donate to Movember. Only a few days left in the Movember campaign. Shameless plug here. I mean, the boys have been promoting it on Leafs Morning Take, Movember. If you want to donate to my Movember, you can find it on my Twitter account, at ZachPhill, ZackPhill. You can find it pinned at the top of my Twitter account there. Head on over, donate. We've raised over $350 this month for Movember. I'll make sure to tag on and donate at the end of that as well. So get your donations in over the last couple of days. And obviously, our friend Kirby is a Florida Panthers fan. But Berube Masterclass is a funny thing to bring up from Kirby. They obviously scored a lot here tonight, put up a touchdown against the Penguins, but it was more than just that. I thought the first period was a little bit sloppy. Dennis Hildeby, I think, really, really gave this team a chance, gave them life to come out of that first period in the position that they did, because if it wasn't for Dennis Hildeby, there's at least 3 opportunities that I look at in particular for the Penguins that probably could have gone sideways. One of which Anthony Mantha gets a pass right in the slot, wide open. He fumbles that one. Later on, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Dewar that got a pass in the slot there as well. And then it was Hildeby who fends that one off, makes a big save on that. And then it was Sidney Crosby on a power play opportunity. He gets it net front. He tips it on goal on Hildeby. As it goes up in the air, Hildeby makes a kind of like, he challenges, like he attacks at the puck, he attacks at Crosby and basically says like, hey, you're not going to get this thing easy, punches out at it and makes a great save. And that is the starting point for all of this. you got great goaltending from him. You got positive. You got a great participation from the back end from Dennis Hildeby. And then, outside of that, it really started to pick up because it did look a little bit sloppy. It did look a little bit weak back there to begin. And then I thought things got better. Not perfect, but better. I thought these guys started to really tighten things up. I thought these guys started to kind of figure out, a way to not give up the greatest chances to the Penguins here tonight. They weren't giving up like the biggest high danger opportunities. They still gave up chances. There was a period of time where I'm looking at the shot clock and I'm being like, holy fuck, how are these guys just getting absolutely shelled like this here right now? Like, why are these guys just under duress like that where it would get hemmed in their zone? But even when it would get hemmed in their zone, it felt more like it did last year where there were times where they would get pinned in a little bit, but Pittsburgh never really seemed to be able to get to the middle of the ice too much, which it's a baby step situation, and it's not like it's the greatest thing to walk away from and be like, okay, yeah, wow, we played so much better defensively. No, you played well defensively. Again, not amazing, not great here tonight, but I thought they played well enough defensively, and they just kind of made sure Hildeby didn't have the craziest chances against him of all time. Like, it felt like they kind of limited those. They kept things more so to the outside after Hildeby had such a great first period, because there was a few of those opportunities, as I brought up here already, where it was like Hildeby had to really stand on his head. He had to really make some big saves to keep this team in it. And then after that, it really started to tighten up. That was a positive. But then, to the point that Kirby made on the DM that he sent me, our friend Cats and Rats podcast brings up the Berube masterclass, as he put it. I don't think this is the perfect game from this team by any stretch of the imagination. Like, this thing wasn't, it wasn't amazing at all, but It was a little bit more towards the style that we saw last year, I will say. So I don't know if Berube masterclass is the way to put it, as Kirby said. I think that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I don't know if Berube masterclass is necessarily appropriate for what we saw tonight. That said, to give Kirby the credit and to kind of give maybe Craig Berube the credit in all of this, this was a better structured game. They had a physical response. They had a bit of an edge to them. They played better offensively. It seemed like there was a bit of an adjustment. Like, it didn't feel like every time they touched the puck, it was a dump and a chase. Still, it was a part of the game. Still, it was something that you saw them feature quite a bunch. But there was a lot of times where they would just possess the puck across the offensive blue line and keep the puck in their possession, and then continue to bring energy, continue to bring it that way. Like, it was a solid game from this team here tonight. That was a step in the right direction and a step back towards the style of hockey I think that they played last year. Again, not to say last year's style of play was perfect, but it was much, much closer. Diz K pretty pissed off here. Diz K says, Berube masterclass, outshot 2-1, outchanced 2-1, hemmed in most of the game. Pray for Vezina goaltending. So, I don't mean to be like Roly Polioli and bounce all over the place here, but, I don't mind as much the whole outshot situation when you go into a game or come out of a game, that is, if you're not giving up the worst chances ever. And again, I don't think this is the perfect game from this team. Like, that's not at all what I'm trying to say about this one. But it didn't feel like the quality of chances that they gave up to Pittsburgh here tonight were that insane. And, outshot 2-1 is just patently false. It was 35-23, which is not 2-1. Let's be clear about that one. So 35-23 was the shots, according to the official box score here tonight. but you found a way and you got it done. You battled through some adversity. You battled through some adversity. You battled through some negative situations. You battled through some ups and downs here, and then you found a way to capitalize on the opportunities that you got. And now on the other side of things, when it comes to the goaltending that the Penguins got here, yeah, not perfect, not the best. Like we're not gonna pretend like the Maple Leafs just had the greatest offensive night here tonight. But I mean, they capitalized on their opportunities, and you saw again them do some of the right things here when it came to going to the net, getting to some of the dirty areas, winning battles, putting pucks low to high, and then crashing themselves in front, whether it was tip-ins that they got, if it was screens, if it was second chance opportunities. Like, I thought that they created some good opportunities, and they buried on them. So, from the offensive side, it was there, and I don't understand the whole, like, complaint about the goaltending thing where it's like, wow, you got great goaltending tonight. You're allowed to get really good goaltending. Like, you're allowed to get that. And by the way, Dennis Hildeby is your third string goaltender. So, I get it. Like, I get people being like, yeah, you got goaltending, but you're allowed to get that, first and foremost. So, that's where I just disagree and get frustrated with the complaints, because you got the goaltending and you're allowed to. They helped you out. They helped you get out of this thing. You know, it was really only the first period that I just felt like this was an absolute nightmare for this team, and then it just kind of cleaned itself up by these guys playing better defensively, Hildeby giving them the confidence, and then whether it was... So one time, actually, let me go back to... Let me relate to this, and it's not the exact same, but let me relate to this for you guys. So one time when I was playing minor hockey, we were playing a game. We only had one goaltender, and he got hurt, so he couldn't play. And we had to get a guy on our team to play net just so that we could play the game. And it was a heroic move by this guy to step in there and step up for the boys and be the hero. Shout out to Jack Pecora. Steps in there against this team. But we just tightened the hell up defensively. And I'm pretty sure we battled through and won the game like 2-1, 3-1 or something like that. And we just absolutely locked it down. You know, we still gave up some chances. And if you were to look at it, the other team probably shot a whole lot more because they knew, like, hey, that's not a goalie that's in net for this team. So they were trying to, you know, put everything they possibly could on net to create any type of problem that they could. But the team in front of him really kind of elevated our play and just was like, hey, you're not going to get anything from the middle. You're not going to get these chances. You're not going to get these transition opportunities. You're not going to get odd man chances, and kind of just cleaned everything up from that standpoint. So it felt like that was kind of the sentiment that we got from this Leafs team tonight, where it was like, well, Dennis Hildeby's back there. Joseph Woll has bailed us out of everything. We're going to have to elevate our play here tonight in front of Hildeby. And all of a sudden, they step up, they tighten up a little bit, and it was like, oh, shit. What the hell happened? Like, how did we get out of this thing? It's hopefully something they could take a lesson from and carry it over to Tuesday's game against Florida and find a way to... build up some type of win streak and not have this just be a one-off situation. You know, you got the win against Columbus. Everybody said, okay, that's kind of lucky. Friday, we lose to Washington, and it's like, well, this is a shit spot to be in. And then win this one here tonight, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, well, we're right back in the standings. It's insane. I see Prague in the chat says, Zach, are you able to discuss things like an adult without yelling just because we have different viewpoints? Prague, you're not calling into the show, man. I think myself and other people need a break from you talking about why Max Domi should be paid $13 million and asking why he's not the captain of this team. So I think we're going to pass on that one tonight, respectfully. Call back in the future, but not happening tonight. Not happening tonight. All right, what else we got here going on in the chat? I want to see. We got 58 likes here on the postgame show right now. So keep hitting that like button. Subscribe here to Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube as well. If you want to listen on podcasts, which I know, again, bring up our guy Wisey. DM me on Twitter and said he listens to the show back the next day. Wisey, I appreciate that. You know, it's the support here on the channel. People who put on automatic downloads on podcast platforms, all that kind of stuff means a lot here. It helps me out, helps the show, helps the channel. So keep hitting that like button. Keep subscribing to the podcast platforms. But we hit 50 likes here. Let's do the smelling salts on the postgame show. Oh, that's an absolute battle. Absolute battle. Oh. Whoa. Okay. What else do we have here for tonight's game? I wanted to talk about Easton Cowan for a second. Easton Cowan, this guy might quickly become my favorite player on the Maple Leafs. The intensity that this guy shows, the passion that this guy has to play every single night, the excitement he shows to score goals. It's so it's so refreshing to see in this group. Easton Cowan just has this like general enthusiasm towards playing, scoring, winning hockey games that I'm so glad has been injected into this group. You know, like, again, this is where I just can't deal with Prague here tonight, because Prague's going to watch Cowan score that goal, try to come on the post game and tell me why Cowan should be playing in the Marlies. Like, I just can't deal with that tonight. But, you know, Easton Cowan, the conversation by Prague specifically, and then some other people who have been in the chat, has been they don't want Cowan around the toxicity, the negativity around this group. And I kind of understand the sentiment, but again, for me, like, I disagree, because not about the negativity, but I disagree about him being up here in the NHL, because he's an NHL player. He's not an AHL player. He's a guy who deserves to be in your top six. He's a second-line left winger right now. He's a guy who could potentially be finding his way onto the first line of this team. He's a guy who does all of the things that you want the players who are already on this team to be doing. Like, how many times do we talk about we want them to be hunting pucks. We want them to be battling for pucks. We want them to not give up on plays. We want them to be hard in on the offensive zone. We want an energy and an enthusiasm. It's like Washington picked up a bunch of young guys, and Connor McMichael, Hendrix Lapierre, in Ryan Leonard, who joins the group as well. Even like you look back 2 years ago when they acquired Jacob Chychrun, like they bring in some younger guys, some younger life, some younger energy, and it brings like a different outlook and approach to the group you already have, because sometimes things can go stale. So I think bringing Easton Cowan into this group can at least provide some of that. I think it can give these guys a sense of life and a sense of energy. You know, when Willy makes that pass, which, by the way, was an unbelievable play by Easton Cowan, first and foremost, to come out behind, hit Willy in the high slot, and then, I mean, again, it's like William Nylander just doing William Nylander things. Gets that thing in the high slot, basically has an open shot at the net, not necessarily like a surefire goal, but an open shot, which he's one of the most dangerous offensive players in the entire league here right now. He gets that thing up high near the top of the circles, in between them in that kind of middle of the ice area. And instead of just getting it and ripping it on net right away, he gets it, holds 1 second to bring everyone back across, or waits like a 0.5 second, and then just bang, right back down to Cowan, who fires it into an empty net as everybody on the ice shifted over. Anybody who was already paying attention to Cowan has to shift over. Anybody who's paying attention to the puck, like Shelovs was at that point, has to shift over, because you got to play it honestly. You have to square up to the puck up high. Nylander sees that, recognizes the situation, and instead of just ripping it himself, takes 1 second, knowing everyone's coming back across. Cowan's going to get lost in this play, fires it back. So amazing play there, but then it's just not just that. It's the energy Cowan shows when he scores that goal. Like, how often right now are we watching Matthews and Nylander and Tavares, who I understand to a degree, because they know that the regular season doesn't matter. It's all about what happens in the playoffs. So scoring these goals here now, like, what does it matter? Like, there's no relevance to these things. It's all about what you do come postseason. And I'm not saying, like, this team's going to make the postseason. I'm just saying they know that that's the case. So there's probably a general lack of enthusiasm because of that. Easton Cowan is a fresh meat that's joining this team, who's jumping in here and, like, scoring his third career NHL goal tonight and being like, this is fucking awesome. I'm scoring in the NHL. I'm playing with some of the best players in the league, and I'm putting up points, and I'm producing, and I'm getting the minutes I am. And there's, like, a general enthusiasm. There's, like, a general enthusiasm around the group that is kind of nice to, like, have him be that excited about scoring. Impressed. Marquise Maintenance saying future C for Cowan. Look, man, I mean, having Nyes, having Cowan show you and bring you the energy that they do on a nightly basis, it's refreshing, to say the least. It's refreshing. Okay. The other things that I want to bring up here about this game tonight, talked about Hildeby a little bit there. I thought Hildeby was really, really good in the first period. Talked about he showed up tonight. And that third line showed up here tonight as well. There was a lot of criticism online of Nick Waugh, and I completely understand the criticism that he was receiving. But it was just those guys, Bobby McMahon, Nick Waugh, Dakota Joshua, showing up and having some type of impact on the game here tonight was nice to see, because it's not just Cowan and Tavares and Nylander and Nyes and Matthews who have to score for you to have a chance and for you to have some type of offensive impact in this one. But to have your bottom six involved in the game physically, energy-wise, offensively, a refreshing change. Like a very, very, very refreshing change from this group. So that was also another positive tonight. And Dakota Joshua was showing in many different ways that he has the ability to do it. It's just whether or not he wants to do it on a nightly basis, which we'll find out going forward, because hopefully this isn't the end of it. Hopefully. Okay. Again, game 25. Maple Leafs win this one 7-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Prague complaining in the chat that he can't call in tonight. Reality is, I don't want to talk about the 2012 7th round pick. That's why, Prague. I don't want to talk about your fucking charts that don't matter. I don't want to have that type of energy on the show here tonight. I would rather show feet. Like, I would rather show feet on the postgame show. That's where I'm at. I'm not doing that. You're just too much, Prague. You're too much. Let's continue to work our way up to 100 likes here on the postgame show. The more likes, the better. The more super chats, the better. Proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity, and we do have a couple other ones, so I want to make sure we answer these. Next super chat does come in from our guy, Robert Bett. Robert, thank you for the super chat. Robert says, Everybody chipped in tonight. Everybody playing their part. Really liking Troy Stetcher. Seems to be a great pickup. So let's start with this. Everybody participating in the game here tonight agreed 100%. I mean, we talk about it from top to bottom, the participation that you had. It's like Lawton going at Malkin and guys blocking shots, playing physical, being willing to sacrifice the body to make plays for the better of the team, like all the way through from the first line to the fourth line. Matthews saving backdoor opportunities, getting down and blocking shots. Like, you saw a commitment, you saw a buy-in from this group that felt like it felt like a buy-in that you haven't really seen to this point in the year. Like, it was a very, very, very different feeling from these guys, all the way from your first line to your fourth line. That just was, again, to use the word refreshing. It was refreshing. Like, I watched it, and Pittsburgh would come out with a shift, they would bring some intensity, and the Leafs would follow right back up. I'm like, where has that been? Where has that energy, that enthusiasm, that drive, that response been all season long? Like, why is this not something they've been able to do from the beginning of the season till now? And I know that, injuries are a part of it. But I know injuries are a part of it, but you can still battle. You can still fight through things. You can still show energy. You can still show pushback. And yet this team sometimes just doesn't. And then watching it tonight is really frustrating because it's like, why can't you bring that energy every night? Why not? Like, why can you not bring that every single night? Very confusing, but awesome to see them show it here tonight. Like, straight up, awesome to see it show them here tonight. Brim says, buddy, take that toque off. Nobody wants to see the hair disaster going on underneath. I've been waiting to get my hair cut for a month and a half. Not happening. We are not taking the toque off. It's a mess right now. Other things I want to talk about. Let's touch a little bit on that Matthews goal in particular. I'm not going to pretend like Austin Matthews is back. It's a flash that I hope can turn into a consistent light rather than, just some little flicker that happened. I want to see these guys show up and bring this through the whole lineup every night. But that Matthews shot is something I hope we can continue to see throughout the next couple of weeks and all season. I want to see it all year because that felt like a vintage Austin Matthews shot. Max Domi cutting through the neutral zone, drop past to Matthews. They do a little crisscross, deflect, bring the D back across, create a little bit of a distraction. Matthews out to the other side, stick to the middle, and he rips far side past Tristan Jarry. It's like, if you find a way to slowly build up that shot and that ability to bring that game-changing shot and release back to your game on a nightly basis, we could be closer and closer, not to the Austin Matthews of 69-goal season. I don't know that we ever get that again. But if you get 50-goal Austin Matthews, and then you get William Nylander with the point production he's at right now, you get the season out of John Tavares that you're getting, it's a positive sign at bare minimum for the future. Now, I don't know that you get this out of John Tavares every single season. He's 35 years old. It's a lot. But that shot felt like vintage Austin Matthews. It felt like vintage Austin Matthews, which, among all the other positives here tonight, was just another one on top. Doodad in the chat talking a lot of shit right now. Doodad19, who I'm pretty sure, if not Mitch Marner's uncle, is somebody who's for sure got pictures of Mitch Marner on their wall, because every time he gets brought up, Doodad comes in here throwing an absolute tantrum. So no surprise that when we come here and we're talking positive, Doodad's got shit to talk about right now, because Doodad is losing their fucking minds that Mitch is turning the puck over and people in Vegas are absolutely losing their shit. But it's all right, Doodad. It's all right. Hopefully one day, maybe one day they'll start a Golden Knights After Dark and they can talk about your boy Mitchell and why he's overpaid there by the Golden Knights. But not today. Not today. So until then, you just have to come here and complain to the Leafs Nation After Dark. Colorado Rockies says now everyone is feeling good because they beat a shit team. Colorado Rockies, I don't think that's the case. I think the reality is all we can do right now is take it day by day and game by game, which I think is a fair way to approach things with this group, because in years past, they've been Jekyll and Hyde. They're up and down. They change night to night, period by period, game by game. Like, it's all over the map. This year, I think, has been the most exaggerated that we've seen out of these guys. And to be in a position where you're watching them go from what they did last night against Washington, where they didn't deserve to be in that one, but they should have found a way to kind of battle through and get a point out of it, let alone, instead of, I should say, lose by 2 in regulation when you're up 2-1 in the third period. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's 4-2 and you're losing a puck line bet in the third period. To go to that, from that to tonight, where it's like second night of a back-to-back, guys are in and out of the lineup. Dakota Joshua all of a sudden is showing up here. Austin Matthews has that release. Nylander's now playing. It's like, how do you go from polar opposites? Like, how do you show that? So I think people are just happy to see this game out of these guys and see them play that style and like an inspiring win, when all you've seen over the last little while is just these frustrating lack of effort games and lack of effort performances that have been lackluster and, kind of just all over the place, really. Marquise maintenance. So will Berube keep the same lineup? I would imagine so. I imagine he's got to going into the next one, unless Simone Ben was back. Obviously, he didn't play tonight for personal reasons, but unless he's back, I imagine he's going to keep the same. Another super chat here tonight. This super chat comes in from Mike Fammy. Mike, I appreciate the super chat as always. Appreciate your support here on the post-game show. Mike says, Zach, do you think Willy was actually sick last night, or do you think he was really healthy, scratched by Berube? Now, this is an interesting tinfoil hat moment for a lot of people, and I'm kind of with people on that. That this was a scratching of William Nylander, and it was just a PR move to keep him out of the lineup. I kind of tend to lean a little bit more towards a scratching. But weird way to handle it by being like, he's going to play. And then all of a sudden it's like, he's sick. He wants to play if he could. Like, that's when I don't understand and it gets confusing. I do kind of lean towards it was a scratching, though, Mike. I do kind of lean towards it was a scratching. Dizk, does it matter? I've never seen a more negative chat. Everybody wants to fight. Doodad is fucking having an absolute pissy pants fit right now, spinning conspiracies, shake my head. Oh my god. We're just, nobody can be happy. We gotta fucking piss and moan and cry all the time. It's always fucking doom and gloom. Like, grow up. It's unreal. Spinning conspiracies, shake my head. You're fucking crying because we're talking about the fact that this was potentially a scratching to send a message and just trying to kind of ease it over in the public opinion so that he doesn't have to answer questions about it. And we're having an absolute pissy pants fit. Relax. It's all good. We're okay. In cowboy boots, he healthy scratched himself. He had the Berube flu. I don't know that he did that. I think Willy's a battler. I think he's a competitor. I think he would have played if it was up to him. So, put it that way. Cats and Rats. Enjoy the W, guys. Thanks for Zach for his work. Thanks, Cats and Rats. Colorado Rockies, I'm just done with this team. I want to rebuild, Zach. Fair enough. I completely understand that. Samurai Zach, they won. Let's go, buddy. Would love to see this team play that way for 10 games plus. I think that's the point, right? Everybody's talking about what happened here tonight, and I'm happy about this win. And I know Colorado Rockies brought up the rebuild there and sent a comment earlier and was like, why are we happy after one win? The whole point, I think, is more so this was a solid win, a step in the right direction in terms of how you played this game and how you won this game. Now, what do you do in the next game? Now, how do you find a way to get yourself to build momentum? How do you find a way to now win 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row? How do you start to pick up points? Because everybody in the East right now seems to just be handing points out left, right, and center. It's games going to overtime, shootouts. It's all going to extra time. So even in games where teams are winning, they're still giving the other team opportunities to get one and stay close. Like, the Eastern Conference is still just an absolute crapshoot as of right now. And it's like, if this team can find a way to string together 3-4 wins, next thing you know, you're in a position here where maybe you're in a playoff spot. We talked about it last night on the postgame with Rosie, and it's like, if this team can win a couple of games, and had they won last night's game, they're right there behind the Sens. Obviously Ottawa wins their game, so it puts them, gives them a couple more points, a little bit more padding, but it's like, you win that game, you're right behind them. They're the third place team in the Atlantic Division. They're a playoff team here right now. You continue to pile up some points. You don't necessarily have to jump over Metro teams into the wild card. You can jump over people and get into an Atlantic spot, because that's how the playoffs work. That's how the NHL works. So you can find your way into that conversation with wins. I see Prague complaining again. Shocker, Prague's complaining. Send a message to Willy. Berube's a bloody idiot. Prague, you're out to lunch if you're not at least watching what Nylander's doing on both sides of the ice. And I think, whether right or wrong how he's delivering the message, I think the message to Nylander should be, and I think from us watching it, is at bare minimum, like, if Nylander is to show up and buy into both sides of the ice, he's going to become one of the best players in the entire NHL. Obviously, it's late in his career here. Now, when you're talking about 10 years in, like, a lot of guys don't even play for 10 years, and even if they do, they don't find a way to make it even more further past that. But, you're talking about a guy who's 10 years in, but he's just continued to get better and better and better and better. And then you look at Nylander, and it's like, it's not necessarily that you're bad at defense. It seems to be this lack of interest in playing defense. So if he were to find a way to just buy into the defensive side of the puck and contribute that way, you could be looking at a guy who becomes one of the best players, becomes a guy who can really, really, really impact your team in a positive way. And then the other thing that I think he doesn't necessarily get sometimes that I wish he would is the impact he has on the rest of the lineup. Like, if William Nylander shows up and plays like he did tonight every single night, he's a guy who is going to drag everyone else into the fight, and everyone's going to look around and be like, you see what Willy did? We got to do that. But if he does what he did against Columbus in the first 60 before he got to overtime, you're watching that guy who's kind of standing around straight-legging it, right? Like, and then it's just like sending that message like, dude, people will follow you. You can be a leader. You can be the one who pushes pace here with these guys and drags them in. And it's like, I watch him tonight and he looks like a different player than what he did against Columbus. Obviously, he has a goal and assist against Columbus, but I watch the commitment to chasing pucks down, commitment to battling, commitment to getting pucks back and retrieving things. So I think that's the message more than anything. And I mean, again, like, this is where 6 1/3, like, just fucking crybaby in the chat, we're talking about, stop this with the Willy bashing. We know you're lost without Mitch to bash every day. Oh, fuck off. I mean, like, it's not bashing. Nobody's bashing. I love William Nylander. I think William Nylander at this point is the best player the Maple Leafs have on this team in terms of how dangerous he is. He's probably the best offensive player that they have. The whole point is that if he shows up on the defensive side of the puck, he can be one of the best players not only on the ice, but in the world. Like, again, in the NHL, he can be one of those guys. Not the best, but one of the best, and put himself into that conversation. It's not bashing. It's just a recognition of sometimes he chooses not to do it. And I think that might have been what Berube is trying to get out of him, is like, dude, if you buy in, if you commit to this, if you pitch in on both sides of the puck, you're going to drastically impact the game in such a way that I don't even know if he realizes right now, and he's going to bring people in. You can tell he's going to bring people in. And this is what I appreciate here. 6 1/3. 6 1/3 is so mad about, not having his opinion agreed with. He's watching the show on mute. I appreciate the view, 6 1/3. Love me or hate me, you still watch. As we continue on here towards the conclusion of the show, we have 89 likes, 11 away from the next set of super chats. So smelling salt. So continue to like the stream, subscribe here to the channel, Leaf Station 401 right here on YouTube. You want to listen to the podcast, subscribe on Leaf Station After Dark, turn on automatic downloads. We do appreciate that. With that, let's get to our Crave the Stats segment. And our Crave the Stats segment is a presentation of Uber Eats. Thank you to our friends at Uber Eats for continuing to participate here on the post-game show. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Every time the Leafs are playing at home, you can get these exclusive deals in Toronto only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, Bogo Brisket Hattrick, Kibo Sushi, Bogo California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, the Bogo Traditional Wrap. Bogo, of course, is buy one, get one. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long, ladies and gentlemen. Crave the Stats. We're just going to take a quick rundown of what we've got in the box score tonight and just take a look through in terms of who did what and just what stood out for us here tonight in tonight's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins in their 7-2 win. Now, obviously, to me, I mean, before we even get to some of the very specific numbers of time on ice and opportunities created and those kinds of things, it should be pointed out how impactful the bottom six was here in this one tonight. I mean, the fact that these guys stepped up the way that they did and were such big participants of tonight's score. Nick Waugh on the second power play opportunity. It's Max Domi fighting for the puck back. He frees that one from the goaltender. She loves at that point. Passes it to Nick Waugh, who buries on the far side. Like, that's a guy who's been trying to find his footing. Hopefully a goal here tonight can get him in the right direction. Again, like him, I think he's been looking better. Not great, but better. Dakota Joshua, a guy that we've just been calling out constantly, and I think rightfully so. Dakota Joshua finishes this game here tonight with 12 minutes and 51 seconds of time on ice. He's got a goal and 7 hits. You talk about the physicality and the heaviness. It's not necessarily always about blowing guys up. It's about just making sure your presence is felt on the ice and making sure guys don't really always feel comfortable. Well, Dakota Joshua did that tonight. Like, that hit on Matt Dumba was fucking awesome. That was a textbook hit by Dakota Joshua. And all of a sudden I'm watching, I'm like, holy shit. Like, you could feel the energy that he brought on that hit, and you could see the guys on the bench looking at him. You could see the guys on the ice. Like, there was no real immediate response by anybody on Pittsburgh, and it kind of felt like Dakota Joshua, like, perked up a little bit after that hit. Like, he lays that hit on Dumba, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, like, I'm in this one. And again, we see what happens on Tuesday against Florida, but, like, you saw that hit, you saw him make that, and then all of a sudden a goal follows it up not long after into the second period there. And it's like Dakota Joshua started to feel himself into this game and feel himself in this lineup and feel himself with this line. Like, you could just kind of feel that build and that momentum for him personally. And, walks away from this one with 7 hits tonight, a goal, and he's a +2. Now, obviously, everybody on the Leafs has himself a good night and a 7-2 win, but when we talk about that third line and Bobby McMahon and his impact and Nick Waugh scoring here tonight, like, seeing those guys through the lineup get on the board, we've been watching them just struggle to find any sort of footing, and to now put up any stats here tonight. Nick Waugh, a goal and an assist. He finishes +2, played 15 minutes and 28 seconds. Bobby McMahon in this one, a goal and assist. He gets 2 points, +2 in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Like, to see their involvement is like, okay. Maybe this is maybe they just needed to see, like, the proof is in the pudding. They needed to see it to believe it, to be like, okay, if I play that way, I can be impactful. Again, it's Pittsburgh. It's not the greatest team in the world, but sometimes, you just need to tap in a putt that's 2 inches away from the hole for you to start feeling confident for the rest of your round. Maybe that was it here tonight for the Leafs. It was an off night for the Penguins. It was an off night for their goaltenders. But maybe you could steal this. Like, maybe you can steal this momentum and carry it over to Tuesday and at least bare minimum play the right way. With that here now, let's get to our final couple of segments here on the show tonight. So with that, let's get to our play of the game. Play of the game for me, I don't know, like, OEL's goal to score and open the scoring in this one on the Leafs' first shot of the game was kind of awesome. Not because, like, it was a great goal, but just OEL has been fucking awesome this year, and he deserves a lot of credit for probably being this team's best defenseman. And I know a lot of people online were joking about, his trade capital continues to go up the better he plays, and it's funny. It's a good bit, but it's true. The reality is, he does continue to increase his value the better he plays, the more points he puts up, and scoring that goal tonight was just like not giving up on the play, being involved offensively. You're seeing this guy battle. You see him fight for every puck, every shift he's on the ice. Like, you see him involved. That was nice, but I'm not going to give it to that. I'm going to give it to the Easton Cowan goal. It's a great play by Cowan to find Willy out front. Willy for finding that open spot on the ice, and then Willy for the pass back to Cowan for scoring. It was just a beautiful play all around, and then the enthusiasm and the energy Cowan shows every time he scored here now this season has been a lot of fun. Like, it's just been genuinely a lot of fun to watch him score and be as happy as he is every time he scores. Like, I get a kick out of it. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I know it's one win. I know it's his 3rd goal of the season, but it's fun, man. It's fun. That's going to be my play of the game. We got to do our best bet segment, recap our best bet. Our best bet here, obviously, as always, is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use promo code NATION. That's NATION. Promo code NATION. NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. By the way, 4 likes away from another set of smelling salts. So keep hitting that like button. Subscribe here, Leaf Station 401 right here on YouTube. Win, lose, draw, I don't give a shit. We're breaking everything down on the postgame show. This one is a loss again on our best bet segment. We had William Nylander, anytime goal. We had John Tavares. Excuse me, not Nylander. Anytime goal. He finishes tonight, no goals, no assists, no points. +1 on the night, though. He did finish this one with 5 shots on goal, which is kind of unfortunate because he was shooting the pill. I thought that he looked good in this one. Not necessarily like the greatest chances from him, but at the price that we paid, +180 for a JT anytime goal, I'm going to take that one every single time. I feel good about the bet and the process. You look at this team and like everyone got on the board tonight, but this brings us down almost 2 units on the season. Last year, if you followed along all season long, it was a good, profitable year. We were up 10 units. To this point here right now, we are down 1.65 units on the year with this JT anytime goal bet that ends up losing. So it's too bad. It's too bad, but I felt good about the process in this one. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. Final segment here tonight before we can wrap up the show is our grade of the game. You guys in the chat send your grades. I'm giving 6 1/3 an F grade as a chatter tonight. I'm sorry, 6 1/3 tonight was one of your worst nights in the chat. I'm sorry. But as we continue on and we give the Leafs a grade here tonight, the grade for me is... I think we're going to go towards a B+. I think it's a B+ night for me from the Maple Leaf side of things. Just looking at this one, they go 1 for 3 for the power play. It's a second unit that scores. It was late. It was a battle. It wasn't the prettiest, but I thought the power play did look better. Created better chances. They move the puck better. Like, it doesn't feel as telegraphed. It doesn't feel as slow. Maybe that's just naturally because of having Austin Matthews out there and quarterbacking it. Maybe it's because Easton Cowan's part of it. He's bringing some life and some energy to that power play, but the power play feels and looks better. Hildeby, I thought, was great here tonight. The penalty kill goes 2 for 3. It's the Ben Kindle, it was the Ben Kindle goal. That was unfortunate because you won the draw, and then the second chance effort on the draw, you end up losing it. It's the battle on the wall that Pittsburgh ends up winning. It goes back to the point. The shot comes in from the point, and it's just easily picked up. Or not easily picked up, by Hildeby because there's such a screen in front of him. Puck bounces up in the air, and like he's not going to be able to find that thing, and then Kindle swats it in. It's a great play of skill, but a great finish by him. It's a B+. It's not the perfect game. They gave up a lot of shots, not the greatest quality chances for the Leafs tonight, but I'll go with the B+. It felt like you were in the right direction. It felt like you did the right things tonight. Matthews scores. You're on the board from that standpoint. Cowan scores again. You get some bottom six production. It's nice. Prague is losing his mind. 6 1/3 and Prague need to team up because I think those guys are on the same page. Prague wants to be the GM. He's sending Cowan to the Marlies. He's bringing up Villeneuve. Max Domi's playing 35 minutes a night. If it was up to Prague, this team looks different. Timothy Liljegren is wearing the captaincy. 6 1/3 is handing out participation trophies. I think those boys should be in the front office. We hit 100 likes here on the postgame show. With that, we do the smelling salts. Maybe that's the poll we run to... That's the poll we run to start the show on Tuesday. Do the Leafs need Prague and 6 1/3 in the front office? I think they would get along great. Here is the smelling salts for 100 likes. Prague, Cowan is a left winger. Nice. Very, very aware, Prague. All right. That'll do it for tonight's postgame show. That is all the super chats. That's all the likes, the smelling salts, all of it. Oh, by the way, called the line, third line on Wednesday with you, finally, is what B. Khalid says with the super chat there. Proceeds from our super chat go to Sick Kids. That was the one I missed. They look good. They look good. I hope they can continue that. Hopefully this is one of those games that just gives them some life and some energy and they can figure things out. But we'll see. Like, this is a see it to believe it kind of situation with these guys. It just is. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, all the good stuff. I appreciate it as always. We're working towards 20,000 subscribers right here on the Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel. Turn on automatic downloads on your podcast platforms for the Leafs Nation After Dark. You can find this show every single time, whether it's the pregame show, the postgame show. It's all on there. To our guy, Cats and Rats podcast in the chat, good luck on Tuesday. I will be back here for another game preview to break everything down, to tee everything up, give out another best bet, see what we've got for the line, and then I will be back for the postgame show right here on this channel for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark. Thank you to everybody who watched here tonight. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to subscribe here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.